either time to unite or still complain about the left when the left hasn't changed gears. What the fuck did he call you? I'm too old for that one. He just said I'm a tanky. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. He's saying that I just like authoritarian leftist movements or something. I don't know. Whatever his fucking worldview is. Now, once again, this is not about like, oh, you need to be held accountable. You need to be held accountable. I am much more open-minded than many of my counterparts are on the left in terms of welcoming people with open arms when they actually recognize the errors of their past ways, right? But what's actually,
bro? I don't care if you like. I mean, like this is like Hassan never really like. I don't know if he like rounds the idea like this. But I don't care if you come from the left or right, bro. The way we are structured, the way like the flag needs to fly, the way the banners are, the way I know if you're again, how do I know you're a tribe member? How do I know that we're on the same side? How do I know we're fighting the same cause? Because we're on the same mission, bro. We're both trying to make the world a better place so the next generation can be better than we imagine. And right now, if you think ICE, the war in Venezuela, pedophile elites, or a genocide in Gaza will make the next generation better than what we are currently doing, you're fucking wrong. You can add Yemen to that. You can add our how we run our military, lobbyism on the corporate level. We can get into how we don't fund education on a local level, how we don't organize well in our communities, how community is all but dead and we feel more isolated than ever. All these things help who? All these things I just listed. Help the fucking billionaires. We're stealing oil for them. We're causing, I think the biggest thing the reason we checked more boxes to go to war against Venezuela than the weighing of the pro and con list that happened. I think it came down to Jeffrey Epstein was getting too much goddamn steam. We haven't heard from that since Venezuela happened. But we're stealing resources and land and the workforce in Venezuela. We are covering up pedophiles. Our military complex has plenty of bombs being sold and armaments being sold to Israel for their genocide. And now ICE is running around scaring the public into subordination. Literally ICE agents saying, you didn't learn your lesson from yesterday? We will shoot and kill you. Who does that help? It doesn't help the average person. It doesn't help the next generation. It helps current billionaires who don't want shit on their shoes. ICE coming down at the same time the inequality gap is getting larger. It's just the billionaires knowing that we're about to be pissed and be unruly. They're just getting ahead of the game. Trying to knock it out of us. Give us a right hook to the jaw so we just become subservient bootlickers. The fuck is going on?
Frustrating is like if you are still talking about the tanky threat when the fascist Gestapo is literally knocking on people's doors, then you're objectively not dialed in to exactly what's going on. Like, you don't understand it. You don't
see what's happening.
You're still trying to find this like weird moderation, not realizing that weird moderation that you're desperately trying to signal is unironically just normalizing the right. Okay? That's it. Hassan, is it possible for you to conceive that people might dislike the right and also dislike the left, in fact, for very similar reasons?
Yes. I mean, at least I can.
Austin Ox responds, is it possible for you to conceive that conflating open fascism with the people flirting against fascism as being very similar is a dumbass opinion people should mock you for? Name the reasons and let's see. My God, is Hassan so thin-skinned that he's now sending his editors to whine at us? Yeah, I sent my editor. That's what I did. I was like, Austin Ox, please defend me. So what's frustrating about this kind of stuff is if you don't realize like how we got here, like if you don't have the solid fundamentals in your analysis on how we arrived at the current ever-present danger that we're facing as far as America turning into a complete fascist dictatorship, okay? Because it is at our doorstep. We're already in the waters of fascism, but it hasn't turned into like a full authoritarian, I guess, fascist movement. Like the courts are still there to a certain degree. There is still like a little bit of ticker tape holding this entire thing together, right? But my assessment right now, he made fun of the genocide in Gaza, by the way, as of 5 hours ago. Yeah, my point always is like you guys have to, at a certain point, you don't have to say it out loud.
We're doing a vibe check.
You have to go back and really reconsider what your first principles are and how you arrived at like the wrong conclusions initially until it was slamming you in the fucking face. Yeah, these liberals just see the tide turning, so they're trying to infiltrate these already established movements so they can control it. I know, and it's ironic because they think we are doing that. Like, the attitude that I'm seeing from people like this is very strange. Like, they make it seem as though, like, the left is actually trying to take advantage of this tide shift, as though we haven't been at the forefront of this tide shift, especially even against the Democrats at certain points. And that's what's so frustrating about this is, like, this is not productive in general. This is an opportunity for you guys to go, hey, you know what? Let's let bygones be bygones. Like, I'm the one who's being nice. I'm not the one who's being vindictive here when I should be vindictive. I should openly treat you as a fucking enemy, right? Ultra-leftists are just annoying while the far right is killing people and destroying democratic institutions. Exactly. This has always been my principle, and that's precisely the reason why I have maintained the position that I don't left bash in general. At most, I make jokes about it, whether it be anarchists or, you know, ultras of all different sorts and varieties. But I don't spend a good deal of time shitting on the left or shitting on the people further to my left, or at least in the way that they present themselves, because I understand that they don't necessarily have any power whatsoever. And not only do they not have any power whatsoever, they are directionally moving the conversation in the appropriate direction. So, what is this? Hey, Hassan, as a longtime watcher, I'm really disappointed in your Iran protest coverage. I watched your YouTube video and all you did was make fun of a dumb chatter just claiming everyone wants a monarch. No one wants a monarch, even people who are chanting his name. They want a secular democracy, and Reza Pahlavi is the only person right now championing it. Yeah, I don't think the monarch is championing a secular democracy. Let's be real. That sounds a little inconsistent, but we'll get to Iran in a second. Don't worry. I'm going to of course, I'm going to be talking about Iran extensively today. But there's multiple factions here. We have the Shah, we have MEK, and at interest, and then there's also an incredibly diverse country, Iran, that is led by the repressive forces of the Islamic Republic. But we'll get into all of that in a little bit. Let me keep talking about the repressive forces in the American regime for now, and then we'll get into Iran in a little bit as well. When I say I only mean not only the person, I mean one of the few who actually cares about the country and does not want to hijack it. Chatters, chill. Yeah, okay. We'll get into it. I don't think that you know, it's again, we're gonna get into it in a little bit. Okay, liberals stop the Holocaust, you absolute moral leper. No, actually, people who stop the Holocaust are not as...
Liberals did not stop the Holocaust. A lot of liberals profited off the Holocaust in World War II. In fact, I would say one of the biggest motivations for whether what side American industry was working for was before we got involved in the war, which we got involved in the war like 6 years after it started, was who was going to pay more. We didn't care if it was the Russians or the Germans for a really long time. We were getting paid by both. Liberals care about individual liberty and protecting capitalism. Capitalism was unbridled. We were making money off anyone. Henry Ford was selling those engines to whoever they could.
Bad as the people who perpetrated it. That was the Soviet Union. What are you talking about? Anyway, it's just like, I don't understand it. I don't understand that these guys cannot, like, liberals have no capacity to fucking read the room whatsoever. And what they fail to comprehend is liberalism failed in the 20s, okay? And I don't mean 2020s. I mean 1920s. And that failure of liberalism brought about a you know, at the time considered a revolutionary movement that was actually counter-revolutionary, fascist movements in Europe, right? In many other parts of the European continent, the death of liberalism came with organized fascist movements, okay? And the death of liberalism elsewhere was rung in by, or at least like Tsarist monarchy was brought in by socialism and communism. Okay? Yes, I mean the 1920s, to use Harry Emden's terminology. Okay? The problem is liberalism is dying once again. And I think a lot of liberals, instead of recognizing that, and then figuring out which side of this equation that they're on, they're still holding on to this notion that, like, no, actually liberalism is not dying, okay? And that's very stupid. A liberal voting for the left is 1,000 times more valuable than you getting less people to vote for the left. That's why no one takes you seriously except gossip magazines. They are frustrated because you would rather...
Bro, no one is talking about not voting for the left. We all understand that the right is way more dangerous than left. When Joe Biden was in office, we did not have ICE on the streets. We also didn't have the Epstein files. So it's not like, idealistic. But you can't say that, like, no one's he's not saying don't vote for the left. He's saying that we have to organize and understand as individuals things need to be better. We all have to start rowing in the same direction, and that direction is to a social democracy. I posted this on my IG story later, and it was a homeless guy sitting outside Washington, D.C., and he said something that, like, hopefully it'll make people click. Socialism without capitalism takes you down communism. Capitalism without socialism leads you to fascism. You need socialism and capitalism for everything to work properly in a democracy. You can't let the money funnel up to one group, because if the money funnels up to one group, if all the resources, if all the energy, if all of our energy and all the value that our energy creates gets funneled up to one group, that group has too much power, and then they just want to find any way they can to hold on to power. They don't care about shit if shit ain't on their shoes. Meanwhile, they are moving up while we keep pushing energy, and we are pushing them farther and farther away from us until this gap don't matter no more, and they just look down, they see ants. They don't care about our lives. They don't care about the problems that we got. They don't care about the shit that we walk through. They don't care when it's up to our neck. Every individual's morals and our perspectives as individuals has to change, so our as a nation we can change and go in a different direction. And maybe that's what Hassan's saying. Maybe that's not what he's saying. But at the end of the day, we get into these fucking arguments that don't matter, bro. There's ice on the streets. We have to find solutions.
Rather support Elon ads for your merch than Kamala? Wait, what? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But as far as this statement goes, do you think the New York Times is a fucking gossip rag? Is that what it is? Like CNN, New York Times, ABC, like these are all... Where do you get your news from if you think that all of these mainstream media outlets are... They only talk about your drama, never your ideas? Really? So when the New York Times invited me to write an opinion editorial, that was drama.
Okay, no one gives a shit.
Do you understand, sincerely, when you make it seem like, all of these other mainstream media outlets that you believe are credible media...
Fox News, which is literally propaganda. I mean, they're all propaganda. I try my best not to believe it if I don't see it with my own eyes. At this point, with how many cameras are going on...
Yeah, but
we need to start grassroots journalism. We need to bring that back too.
Okay. Well, I don't think anyone in the, at least in the Democratic Party, agrees with you. Like the adults don't agree with you, is what I mean. But that's besides the point. Yeah, when you follow after Zoran, yeah. No, that's my favorite attitude that people have, which is like, you have zero political impact. I love Zoran and I hate you. Why is the DNC bringing you? To cover it. It's really fucked up. You're just a drama slop tuber. Got it. Chronically online brain broken person. He exposed himself as a drama obsessed slop eater. Yeah. What are people pivoting to instead of liberalism, Bubba?
Dude, slop eaters are, I swear, their moms are wine moms who love like TLC and like any form of reality TV. If you're a drama slop tuber, there's a chance like your dad watches Sister Wives.
Right now, I don't think the liberals are really pivoting, at least openly. They're not recognizing that there are alternatives out there. And that's one of the saddest parts about this, is because like there is no further left position that is commonly held and popular. So a lot of people don't realize that there is an entirely separate world out there, socialism and even social democracy, really, if you want to fucking entertain that.
Social democracy. Social democracy.
These people don't exist in the real world, by the way. True. That is true. They just exist mostly on the internet. Can we talk about why everyone is so far...
Isn't it weird to say that like some only exists online? Like it has to like be at least in the subconscious of the real world, right? if it's manifesting online. I don't know. It's a weird. He says that a lot. It's a weird. I mean, it's probably true because you spend so much time online that like you see a minority of opinion because you need to be online all the time to form that opinion. But it's still, yeah, it's a weird thing to wrap your head around sometimes. That you only see something online, you never see it in the real world. I don't know.
Left and right. Why is it so hard to find or hold common ground? I mean, I'll give you one example of this, right? Here. Now, this has been something that I have talked about quite extensively about hating the Republicans. Whenever I talk about how, like, liberals actually love the Republicans, they want to hug and kiss the Republicans, or they want to be Republicans, and that's what's really frustrating. But here, if you want to understand, like, where I'm coming from, here, this is a podcast called The Necessary Conversation. These two podcasters talk to their mom and dad that are Trump supporters, okay? Let's take a look.
No, it's because you're in a cult.
What if Donald Trump says, I want you to carpet bomb Oklahoma City, everyone? You think the Air Force should carry that out?
Yes.
There might be a reason, we don't know.
This is insane.
Bro, when you read history and you think like Tulsa, like Black Wall Street, and that got like burnt to the ground, and like, you know, like white folks didn't like the fact that there was like African Americans that were doing better than them, or like as well as them. And I'm pretty sure better than them, because I'm pretty sure one of the big driving factors is that is like the Great Depression and like economic downturn was occurring, and the diversity and like the work ethic and the actual like value and energy that was going on in like in black ecosystems and economy was just better and more efficient than that was happening in white ecosystems and economy at the time. But like what we just heard, Trump supporters saying that it's okay to carpet bomb. If Donald Trump said carpet bomb Oklahoma City, then they should just do it because there's something that they don't know. Bro, you are gone, bro. Like you are officially like just a weight on the wrong side. You were heading in the wrong direction. Like we need, like you need help. You need like psychiatry. You need like therapy. Like Fox News broke your fucking brain.
You cannot be this stupid, Jesus Christ.
Oh my. This podcast was going well until that.
You just said it.
Bro, that woman just said it's okay to carpet bomb a city and then got mad at her daughter saying you can't be this fucking stupid. And then that's what the... Dude, I hate the older generations. Hate's a strong word. I hate when they refuse to have an open mind. Especially when they're in an older generation, because they always carry themselves in a position of authority, which makes them have confidence and makes people like really believe what they're saying more than like average.
Levels, Oklahoma? You're like, yeah, fuck it. There must be a reason. Like, you literally can't be that dumb.
You know what the problem is? Mom and I don't believe he'll ever blow up Oklahoma because we're on his side and so's the whole state.
No, it's because you're in a cult.
You guys are worried and afraid because you live in a state where it might happen.
I think people that, like my first inclination that this is,
Bro.
because of how
Bro.
fucking freakish this commentary is that it's rage bait and it's fake, right? And as far as I understand...
Bro, I live in the Midwest. This ain't fucking fake. This is a real conversation that's happening. These are real conversations that be happening. I will not. I have heard enough crazy shit living out in the middle of the country, in the middle of the Midwest, to believe that this conversation is true. I think that the propaganda that is surrounding these people, they're so far in the echo chamber. Because, like, think about it. When I say so far, I don't mean like they're just watching Fox News. Like, I know we're all consuming like media pretty much damn near all day, or at least like all the time that you're free, right? But, or like, you know, it's just like doom scrolling, right? But like when you are of a certain age and you've been listening to Fox News, when did Fox News come around? Like let's look it up because I could be completely, when did Fox News start in America? 1996. So that means that for 30 years now, motherfuckers have been getting brainwashed by Fox News, and Fox News is like a huge thing. Like they have their 24/7 news cycle. They are good at being like online. They migrated well to that, but then they also like have like the football community, and they have like local news, and they do all these things that like have led a generation of people. Like, they watched their parents have, like, honest media in the 60s, then everything changed, and then they just fell into this Fox News over patriotic propaganda. We don't give a shit about the truth. We only care about, like, sculpting a perspective for you. And I think they really have sold. And, like, you know that old saying, like, sticks and stones may break my... Oh, no, not that one. I'm rubbing your glue, so whatever you throw at me bounces off me and sticks to you. They've, like, internalized that to a degree where, like, you tell them what their politics and what the outcomes of, like, their decisions and philosophies lead to, and they just think that bounces off them is actually you. Like, they've like been told that the Democrats are what they are, like, the outcomes that, like, Republicans lead to, and, like, the outcomes that, like, they push for. They have been brain broken into thinking that's what Democrats are doing. So, like, when they win and they, like, make things happen and then they see all these shit outcomes happen in the world, they have already been primed and, like, led to believe that's because of Democrats, not because of the Republican Party, because Republicans are true Americans. The fuck? It's a crazy world. It's a crazy thing that's been going on.
I mean, I'm going to interview these guys at a later date.
That'd be dope.
Okay, to try to get a better assessment on if it's scripted or if it's, like, exaggerated or not. But I will just say that at least talking to people that I know that do have MAGA parents, conversations such as this one do take place at the dinner table or during Thanksgiving. Like, not dissimilar to the one that you are going to hear. Now, first he says, oh, he's not going to bomb Oklahoma, but you guys are afraid because he might bomb California. So he shifts gears. Listen.
Okay, let's theoretically say that does happen. Let's say Trump sends in the Marines to Los Angeles, California, and let's say I'm out going to see a movie on a weekend, and he says, go into that shopping mall. He says, go into that shopping mall and kill everyone you see. And let's say I get gunned down by the Marines for just being at a mall.
Okay, number one,
All four.
let's just take it.
He just said all four. He said he's okay if his son gets molded down while he's going to the fucking movies, bro. Bro, I swear they really be believing this shit. Because, bro, then you get the whole evangelical thing into it, and you get the whole Christian thing for it. And not only are you brainwashed to think Republicans are the only true fucking Americans, and that my way of thinking is the only thing, and that every other way of thinking only causes terrible and bad outcomes. But then you start, like, flavoring in that Christianity, you start tying that megachurch into it, and you start thinking everything's God plan. So I'll sacrifice my own limb, my own kin. I will sacrifice my own well-being and my own, like, status in this world if it means bringing glory to fucking Donald Trump and his agenda. Fucking wild, bro. Fucking wild. Wild turn of events. Bro, you're a father. You're a patriarch of a family. This should be the number one thing you're riding and dying for is the well-being and, like, evolution of your family.
That's cult leadership.
It is cult leadership. Literally cult leadership. And it's like... And it's not just like cult leadership like Donald Trump did all this. Donald Trump definitely did some shit because at the same time Fox News was breaking brains. He was on reality TV. But like there's been a whole apparatus, a whole section of like billionaire donations and big think tanks and like fucking propaganda that has been priming this cult to come to fruition. And ever since Obama won, after Obama won either re-election or election the first time, there was a meeting in D.C. at one of the steak lounges, and a big think tank came down and had every Republican, like they had staffers, they had sitting members, they had anyone that was anyone for the Republican Party, and they said we have to vote online. No one can step out of place. If you step out of place, we will eat you. We will turn your seat to like even redder. We will find someone who will walk in line. So once they went down that road and once they like committed and they said this is what we're going to do no matter what, we're all going to step together no matter what our morals is, no matter what my responsibility are to my constituents, my family, my community, I'm going to vote in line with this like this philosophy and this literally this cult thought, like this cult mentality. That's why Trump is more worried about ballrooms and being in the limelight while Stephen Miller can run around and do the other shit, because it's not one guy doing this. There's this whole energy, there's this whole structure, there's this whole parasitic thing in America that has been brainwashing people, turning them into zombies, and like leading us down into a world where a dad will be okay with his son getting murked by Donald Trump fucking Gestapo agents. The fuck? In what part of history would your ancestor be proud of that? In what part of history? When your ancestors make, ooh, bars.
Dad,
step
wait a minute,
further.
Mom, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. Dad
Wait,
just,
wait.
hang on, Mom. Dad, you just said you are for Donald Trump murdering me for no reason, and you would support that.
If he walks into a mall to people with military,
There has to be a reason.
there's a reason, and I'm all for it. And the people in Los Angeles,
Bro, you don't even need like to say like these are the reasons I'd be okay with that. You would just say I would accept any reason from Donald Trump to commit like mass murder on a grand scale to American citizens, bro. Where in the Constitution, bro? The fuck are we talking about, bro? I hope Hassan is able to interview these people, see how real this is. Because like where I'm at, bro, like in 2016, you showed me some shit like this, fake. Dude, 2026, it's only getting worse, bro. It is not getting better. It's not getting better.
California are as deserving of execution as the assholes in New York City.
Just because they vote blue, bro. Literally, this guy's saying anyone who votes blue is should be murdered. Is what this man is saying.
You're
right
all communists.
Chatters with immediate family members that are deeply invested in the MAGA cult can maybe attest to this, but more and more people are saying things like this in the countryside, in the rural areas, in places where Donald Trump has made.
Bro, and the shit part is, I really think people have been feeling it for a really long time. I think they just feel comfortable saying it now because he was in charge. I think they used to bounce around it because they cared. They used to care about not feeling shame and wanting to be respected by the people around them. Now I don't think they give a fuck. Now I think this is what they think brings them respect, because the best paying job right now is to sign up to be an ICE agent, where you get paid like $40,000 bonus and good money throughout the year to travel and be a dickhead. Of course, dickheads are going to be emboldened to be a dickhead. Dickhead's the number one job in America right now. Let alone Asmund Gold being a dickhead, being like one of the best. I mean, you know, you talk about bots and shit, but being one of the most well-paid fucking streamers, goddamn, being a dickhead's how you get paid.
Impact. And what is really funny is, for those of you who don't know this podcast at all, they go, "Did he just say mom and dad?" And the answer is yes. Okay. To which I repeated, I don't think we can live normally in a country where 20% of the population operates like this. We need cult deprogramming.
Facts.
Okay. And if you
It's a true
recall,
statement.
the last time I talked about this,
We need a mass funding in education, and not just education K through 12. We need mass funding in education that helps with student debt, reforms K through 12 to be more inclined to teach people how to like critically think. All we need to be able to do is critically think and solve real problems in the physical world. And then how do we leverage AI so we can still critically think but become even more efficient thinkers and problem solvers, and be able to use these things ethically. I mean, obviously we need like study, it needs to be way bigger than this, but inside of that education funding, after you like help student debt, after you get K through 12 funded and cleaned up and every student's well fed and we're on a schedule that doesn't teach them how to memorize and take a fucking test, but we just care about you being able to critically think in the real fucking world. Once those two things are done, the next thing is you need like Gen X re-education, and like you probably can just like fucking disguise it as like work like learning new tech skills, because all their jobs are about to be gone because of like what AI is going to do the next like 5 to 12 years.
this was once again,
Or just put them in
where
retirement
liberals
homes.
got so mad at me.
Make liberal
saying
bingo.
That we need,
This is a
you know,
joke.
we
That's a
need
joke.
some kind of fucking deprogramming and education for people. They said, "Oh, you want re-education camps?"
No.
Now I'm seeing
It's
more
the
and
same
more
thing.
people who previously were liberal or liberal adjacent also coming to that reality, coming to that recognition. I'm seeing it more and more often. More and more often, I'm seeing people go, "Oh, I kind of understand why there is a necessity."
I
for
understand.
some
I understand why
kind
you would
of-
say it for
some
sure.
kind of educational
1000%.
procedure, because this cult, if left to its own devices, is
Gavin just said called deprogramming.
not exactly
The background. I don't know if you guys
compatible
heard
with having a nation state. Like, you can't really have a country if 20% of the population straight up thinks like, yeah, no, all the fucking commies deserve it, including my own children. And this
Not
is
even
not like,
communists.
this is something that this is why college isn't free law. I mean, it's part of it, yeah. It's part of it for sure. I think a less educated population, I don't even think re-education camps would work for those kinds of people. What do you do with that kind of hog? you just really hammer it over and over again that you know, this kind of this kind of sentiment is
Bro, I think you just create an education program, and like, I mean, like, you can even just like, you don't even need like re-education. You don't even need to send them nowhere. You can like save money, bro. You what you need is a like bill or something passed where you go into all their fucking algorithms and you show them. You design an algorithm and design content to push within that algorithm that shows them exactly how certain policies and certain philosophies play out in the real fucking world. And you show them like how hating, how people express, and you show them like how being anti fucking like women's rights when it comes to like, you know, getting an abortion and like having access to health knowledge and like safe birth control, and even like when it comes to like drugs and alcohol, like how like say like you show them testimony, you show them outcomes in different countries, you show them over and over and over again on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever the fuck their algorithm lives. You design content that just puts it in their face how certain philosophies, certain policies, and certain like you essentially like baby feed them fucking like a proper education. And like, I hate talking like this because it's like, oh, you're political, you like believe. No, it's like a science, bro. It's science. It's been studied. It's been fucking studied. I'm still like a religious dude. I still see where God comes to play in it all. But like this is also like about education and and like how we do things and like how like outcomes occur. Like you put your energy in a certain way in a certain circumstance with certain parameters, and you are going to get this outcome like 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10. You know, nothing's ever perfect, nothing's ideal, but like philosophy of like, why the fuck should everyone have health insurance? I'm okay. Let's show how that philosophy plays out. People are dying when the medicine and technology exists to keep them a fucking alive. That should be a shame. We should be ashamed as a society every time that happens, because the number one resource that God has bestowed upon us is consciousness and the ability to live and experience life. So every time that goes to waste because of wasteful and violence from our fucking politicians, or a shitty design of healthcare, or because billionaires' profits are aren't greater, they're not better than they were last week, we should all be ashamed. We should feel shame, and I think we do feel shame. And I think we do feel guilt. We're just so numb and overburdened, we don't know what the fuck to do. We have to revolt. We have to organize and find a way to revolt. It doesn't have to be violent. It shouldn't be violent. It needs to be economical. It needs to be political. It needs to be with our time and our attention and their God-given resources. Stop working for them. Stop paying them fucking taxes. We have to find a fucking way. And if you don't think it's time to start cussing and start being urgent and start trying to figure out what the fuck they do, there's a guy that just said he's okay if his son gets carpet bombed or shot and killed from ICE because Trump has his reasons. Like he's God. Like it's all like he's, oh, you know, God, you know, there's always a bigger plan. He's saying that about Donald Trump. The fuck? And he's not the only one. Guaranteed every ICE agent feels that way. It's crazy. It's insane. And we have to, and like, again, the algorithm idea of like, that's like where it starts. Yeah. I do think that's where it starts. We need to start using this algorithm that broke people's brains to start slowly rebuilding them.
Completely inconsistent with the shared values that we're supposed to maintain as a nation state. That's all you got to do, and hope for the best. You can't save everybody, but that shouldn't stop you from trying to save as many people as possible.
Some of that content's already made too. It should be forced on people who are thinking in a certain fucked up way.
I talk about all the time.
The problem is billionaires benefit from motherfuckers thinking like that too, because it just gives them like a license to fucking kill. Literally gives them a license to send people to kill. Both billionaires and politicians. It's an insane situation we have found ourselves in. And we've been led here for over a couple generations. That's why I'm mad at the older generations for not trying to stop it. Yay, I have credit and housing is low. Who gives a shit if we bomb and send jobs out and we don't build a proper economy, we strip education, and we don't care propaganda's on TV? Housing's low and credit's high. Let's go. That's what the old generation said. Now we're faced where we have to do something. When other generations were 32, they didn't have to worry about ICE agents coming down and killing innocent civilians or snatching up innocent civilians and taking it away. The last time that happened was the Japanese concentration camps that we started before World War II or during World War II. And even that made a little bit more sense.
A product of creating a malleable population because they are not educated, because you paywalled education, because all the K through 12 education is paywall.
We act like we're so much fucking better than past generations. We act like we have something like, but then we fall for like traps that are even more easy to avoid nowadays. We don't even just avoid them. We jump straight into them. We like driving down the deep pit with spikes at the ends, like cool and edgy. Even though we're destroying our society every fucking day.
Or not paywalled necessarily, but the public schooling, system is completely in a dire state of disrepair. Okay, there is a massive class disparity in educational attainment and educational outcomes in general, and that creates an environment of servants of empire, not very an environment where there's a lot of people who are just not very intelligent, and people who are stupid are malleable. They're easy to manipulate.
And I believe that there's a dad saying, I'm sorry, I'm not even past it. I believe that there's a dad that says that about his son, because I know people my age that think that like us being in a monarchy would be a better form of fucking governance. And that they think Baron Trump should be the fucking next leader after fucking Donald. If you can believe that, then get to the point where your son being killed by Trump is like a service to God, service to my master. Isn't that far of a fucking leap? You're in a different, same through line, different life point. Different time is a different variable, but it's the same fucking linear equation.
But when it gets to a certain point where you have 20% of the population that is so firmly invested in the MAGA cult that is at the mercy, at the whims of one madman like Donald Trump, who has time and time again shown that he will do whatever the fuck he wants to do, no matter what the repercussions are. Even if the repercussions of his actions are directly impacting people like that, directly impacting people in the MAGA cult, you have to do something about it. This is me asking because I genuinely don't even know how to begin this process, but assuming nothing else changes about the country other than like an establishment Dem gets elected after Trump, assuming we have elections again, what does deprogramming look like to you?
Bro, established Dem ain't gonna do shit for us. Bro, the parties need to flip, bro. Like, Democrats are hugboxing Republicans because they want to be Republicans. Like, established Democrats want to be Republicans so fucking bad. So let them be Republicans. Kill MAGA. Just get rid of MAGA. Get rid of Nazis. Get rid of all that. Let establishment Dems become Republicans. And let there be a real left. Because that would create a social democracy. Last time we had a social democracy, we built the highway system. We built airports all across our world. We had a GI Bill for the white veterans across the country. And we actually had a good spending power across the middle class. We had a real middle class back then. We had people getting pensions. Back when we had a social democracy. We had labor unions, and we had people who would fight for their rights and go to town halls and be politically active. And by politically active, I mean active for their fucking community. I don't mean political because they're Democrats or Republicans. I mean because they care about the well-being of their damn community. We need to bring that back. And if you think otherwise, then you're just wrong.
Logs, check logs, please. I can't get into it right now. That's a much longer conversation that could take place at a later date. But the reason why I brought that up is because someone asked. Like, why can't we find moderation? And the question I have is, if 20% of the country, right, just 20%, I'm not saying 20% of the country thinks this way, and is basically at the mercy of a complete madman, right, with cult-like zealotry that they demonstrate over and over again. And then the other 20% on top of that is basically like agnostic to it, where they're like, I don't really care as long as my taxes are, as long as I feel like the country is moving in a positive direction.
Bro, not even that. As long as I don't have shit on my shoes. Some people won't look outside and understand that it's like shit's on fire unless their house is on fire or there's shit on their shoes. If there ain't no shit on their shoes, there ain't no bullshit on the ground, right? They don't even care if shit's getting better. They care if their little power of control can still be held on by them. It's all they care about. They don't even care if their kids have shit all over their shoes. They don't care if their kids are neck deep in shit. As long as there ain't no shit on my shoes and my shit's polished, I don't give a fuck what happens to anyone else. And what's the golden fucking rule? Care for others the way you want to be cared for yourself. It's insane. I'm cussing too much, but it's insane.
The watchful eye of this Republican movement, and I don't really care that much about immigrants or whatever. How do you find moderation? How do you find the golden mean with those guys? Okay? How do you do that? I don't think it's possible. And I think a lot of liberals end up coming to the conversation with this honest naivete, with this honest assessment where they think, no, like there has to be some kind of back and forth here where we can just...
Bro, you can't compromise with fascists. You can't compromise with greed. You can't compromise with me. You compromise with people who are trying to do the same thing, but they may not want to risk the same amount of resources. Or they have a different definition of a proper outcome. You can find compromise there, but when the idea that like one side is saying that we should have Gestapos who are allowed to kill fucking American citizens and go away, like, and not be penalized in any way, shape, or form, and that we actually think that is a good thing for our country, or that we just are going to go after sovereign nations, or that we're going to protect pedophiles, or that we're going to fund genocide, which that last one is both parties, then like there's nothing. Like the American people, we have no one to compromise with. There's no one for us to compromise with. We're not organized enough to compromise with everyone, but there ain't no one for us to compromise with. Both sides are trying to sell our souls. One of them just does it a little bit quieter than the other. This shit is going insane, bro. We have to find a way to stand up for ourselves.
Find a reasonable middle ground. As the middle ground shifts further and further right from under their legs every single fucking day, someone needs to pull at least the middle ground back to the actual center. And that's never going to happen unless you have more overt, openly leftist people in positions of prominence.
Facts. You have to go against. You have to go against it.
Okay?
You
That's
have to rail against them. You have to. It's
part
tug
of
of
the reason why
war.
I never-
It's tug of war. It's tug of war. And one side is pulling, like Republicans are hug boxing, or Democrats are hug boxing Republicans so hard that they're actually helping them pull, and they're pulling against the two leftists that are in our country that are trying to find like an actual medium, an actual spot for a sweet spot for American politics. And it's so unbalanced that we'll never have it. We're just getting dragged to the right until we fall off a fucking cliff.
I as a policy refuse to actively left bash, even though many people to my left, if there is really someone to my left, let's be real, I don't personally think so, but people with like ideological differences or ideological delineations that claim to be further left than myself will yell at me, but I usually do not return the favor. And the reason why I don't do that is because I think they play an important role in pulling the broader consciousness back to a place of reason, a place of common sense.
When this happens again.
Well, we've already said that, Nicole. The de-escalation and a lot of those police chiefs that you mentioned don't
Breaking news, communists not more left than Hassan Abi? Yes.
seem to de-escalate. They seem to escalate.
Are you de-escalating?
Absolutely. Every day we de-escalate.
With dead bodies.
We watched as you confronted protesters right there. It didn't look like de-escalation, but are you trying to send a message?
The agitators and the rioters here in Minneapolis need to understand that our operations will continue unabated despite the violence they perpetrate against law enforcement.
Trump administration officials have claimed
the violence of the snow and the icy roads against our big, beautiful hog army. Just the fattest Gestapo that you have ever seen.
Bro, I swear, if we could organize something and actually punch him in the mouth, they would have no plan. A dickhead is mean and ready for a fight until you get punched in the face. Everyone has a plan until they're punched in the head, and I feel like that's all of these dickheads wearing ICE uniforms.
Jonathan Ross with her
God damn.
before he shot and killed her last week. That's fine, dude. I'm not mad. Video taken by the agent on his phone during the incident shows them.
Hey, I will say this too. It's kind of wild that she was trying to pull off without her spouse. And I don't know why her spouse left the car. But that's kind of, I mean, I keep watching that. That's how much fear she was in. She was in straight fight or flight from when these guys started pulling on her fucking car, bro. Her adrenaline was dumping.
Moment he fired at Good's car, capturing this.
Dude, look at her, bro. You're telling me this lady was about to hurt somebody? And even if she was, you should be able to take her down peacefully. You should be able to put her in a little jiu-jitsu. You should be able, and bro, if she pulls out with her car, you have her license plate. You recorded her license plate. You can find her at a later date to take care of any fines that she may have inflicted in this situation. If you can even get a warrant for some shit like that.
Appearing on CNN,
This
Homeland
bitch is
Security
crazy.
Secretary Kristi Noem insisted the deadly use of force was appropriate.
He had to take quick action based on his training to defend himself and
Bro, look at this, bro. He's already out of the way of the
his
car.
colleagues.
Clear side. The gun is in the fucking car, bro. This guy's adrenaline was dumping, and that's because and it wasn't dumping because he was fight or flight. This was dumping because he knew what he was about to do. This was premeditated. This man was probably been in a couple situations that was very similar to this, and he finally kind of was in the right place. He's playing like he was walking around taking that recording. He was playing musical chairs, and he was hoping he would land on the right spot when the car started moving forward for him to have any sort of excuse to pull out his gun and start fucking popping somebody. I guarantee, dude, he's fist bumped somebody after this happened. They had a little fist bump with one of his buddies. They probably bought him a round of beer that night at the hotel, bro. And I'm saying that because it's sick. And I'm saying that because during BLM, when I went out there during that, I saw cops with the same demeanor. I saw cops doing the same shit. SWAT agents doing the same shit. These guys think it's Grand Theft Auto out here, and they get to play on team mode. They get to play on super easy against noobs. Not even just noobs, but like unarmed. Like, you know, they got the special. They paid for the special pack, so on launch they got all the best gear. So everyone who's trying to grind the game still, they will always have an advantage. And they have cheat codes to avoid punishment.
That's very clear and factual from the videos that you can see.
Minnesota Senator Tina Smith questioned that claim.
I mean, the guy is holding a camera. He's holding his phone with one hand taking video while with the other hand he is shooting this woman in the face.
In a statement released last night, Renee Good's family described her as, quote, relentlessly hopeful and optimistic with a seemingly infinite capacity for love. They went on to write, we already miss her more than words can ever express. She was our best friend. Adriana.
Beautiful statement, Nicole.
Did you see this? Is great strength in numbers. A Somali mob rushed ICE agents in St.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. This is one of the videos I'm talking about. This is why we have to have something organized, bro. We need to get some like immigration lawyers out here to give everyone like the know-how on like on the legal speak to stop these MFs, and then we have to create systems within our communities where we can all rally, bro. Where like a little air horn goes off and people know to run down the street and start swarming these MFs, bro. The only thing that we have on our side is numbers, and we have to find ways to use and strategize, bringing numbers to like these pop-ups that these ICE agents are creating.
In St. Cloud, Minnesota, these guys are way outnumbered. They need National Guard support. The terrorists cannot win.
Good community, bro. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a well-organized community. When I'm watching this, the Somalian side, that's a well-organized community. They knew they were in the national news. They knew these ICE agents were pulling up to these daycares or whatnot, or they knew their communities were attacked. So they created an organization of an organized way to communicate, pull up, and get on the same spot so that they can help defend their communities, bro. We should be taking pages from this. We should be taking pages from this across the board. The working class. This is how the working class needs to respond, no matter where or when. Watch these MFs. Watch these MFs. They're surrounded. They're flanked.
I want to reiterate something.
They're not packed up. They're nice and spread out. I'm not kidding, bro. These are things that we need to be looking at, and these are things that we have to get together so that we can do this across the damn nation.
That a lot of people do not understand, and I briefly talked about this with Mustafa the Poet when I was live with them as well. People see black people from the African continent ethnically and assume that they're migrants. Okay.
No, they've been here for a couple
Somali
generations. Yep.
By and large, are
Oh,
American
look at sis
citizens.
over here.
Okay.
Shout out to
90%
sis.
of them are American citizens. 60% of them are American-born U.S. citizens. Okay.
Been here
So
for a
when you see,
generation or
like,
two.
A crowd of Somali people.
Just don't give
if
up
you're
their
a racist
culture.
Piece of shit. Or maybe even if you're not like a Republican, but I understand like why people look at the Somali population on U.S. soil and it just automatically assume that they're immigrants. Like, you're wrong. I'm just explaining this to you. They are no different. They are no different than like an Irish American or a German American. Like they've been here. Many of them second generation. Like I said, 60% of them are
They're the type of people that make America great.
Natural-born U.S. citizens. Okay, so when a lot of Republicans look at this kind of stuff, they think, oh, this is unacceptable. You look at this, a bunch of criminal immigrants like surrounding a police officer. Like, that's not the case. This is no different than a crowd of white people doing this. Okay, and the reason why I consistently stress the importance of this is because if an ethnic group of people on U.S. soil are 90% American citizens, why the fuck is ICE there? Why is ICE there? I mean, why is ICE anywhere, really? It's the same reason. But this is one of those instances where you look at a group of minorities and automatically assume, because of the way that they look, that they are not American citizens at all, and therefore Department of Homeland Security apprehensions and ICE traffic stops are perfectly justifiable. It's not. It's ridiculous. Okay?
Look at them. They're backing off. They don't know what to do. Loud recording. These are notes, bro. We need to take these notes.
Your crooked con monologue in counter messaging is gaining traction
Republicans,
again?
they act as though there is an election every single day. They are constantly on message. They're constantly creating an alternative reality with lies, saying that undocumented migrants are actually responsible for a metric ton of the crimes that are taking place in American cities, when that is an abject lie, okay? And when I talk to congresspersons, whether it be at the DNC or even before, even after, and I tell them, why the fuck aren't you guys counter-messaging against this? We are a nation of immigrants. America is the most diverse nation on the fucking planet. It is literally the reason why we are such a domineering force beyond all these other, beyond all the other, violent reasons. But like that is one of the most redeemable aspects of America that I personally love, that the Democrats completely dropped because they were scared. They saw that one poll from the Pew Center of Research that said, 6% of Americans want mass deportations. That exact same poll also showed that if given two options, mass deportation and mass amnesty, that the majority always chose mass amnesty. So why is that never...
Ronald Reagan did amnesty. It's always the choice. They just don't like the word illegal. They don't like the word undocumented. They don't like the idea that someone's getting something for free. What we don't like on the base level as the working class is the idea that someone can go work, get paid on the table, and not have to pay taxes. So you make it so they leave, or make it so they pay taxes. That's what we want. We just want a fair, equal ground for employment, for the rules around employment, and for everyone to pay their share. If you are getting more, you should give more. Period. And in fact, we should set it up so you have to give more before you can get more. That should be the way we're really thinking about it.
Because Americans, sure, the median voter, trying to understand where the median voter is coming from is impossible, okay? You will kill yourself if you try to understand what these people are thinking.
You just lost me, Hassan. I was with you halfway through that, but you lost me. But I'm with you.
But what I'm trying to say is this, okay? There are Trump supporters out there, okay, that have been deluded into thinking that Donald Trump represented a change, and obviously we saw that buyer's remorse this past Tuesday, right? Especially in Hispanic communities where they were like, oh, I can't believe that he is actually doing mass deportation. And it's we're in D.C., this is a fairly liberal crowd, and we laugh at those people, but like I talk to those people every day, and there were people that genuinely thought, they genuinely believed that Donald Trump was actually excising the violent criminals. And the only reason why people are led to believe this lie, aside from the faucet of misinformation that comes from independent outlets on the right and also Fox News as well, is because there is no robust response from the Democratic Party that says that's a fucking lie. That's a lie. Undocumented migrants in this country are responsible for a lower rate of per capita crime than natural-born U.S. citizens are. If you pair that up with documented migrants, it's negligible.
Hassan, if Renee Good had been non-white, the response on the left would have been even stronger. What? That clearly makes them racist, or at least biased to one race. If you disagree, you have to provide an argument. What? Are you all right, dude? Why do you do this every day? Confused woke of the day? No, this is a derailer. He just like comes in here and does this shit. Here, take an hour off. There have been tens of thousands of people like protesting in the streets in the aftermath of Renee Good's execution. So he's just trying to derail and say that like the left is actually anti-white racist. But in order to make this reactionary counter argument, you have to obviously deny the reality in front of your eyes and make it seem as though there hasn't been this like robust response and mass mobilization that has taken place in the aftermath of Renee Good's assassination.
It is marginal, and they're hyper-focusing on it specifically because this is a vulnerable population that is easy to target and it's easy to ridicule, and there is not enough of a robust defense mechanism out there. And that's the reason why people end up believing this bullshit, and then they get shocked when it's actually implemented. Republicans...
Exactly. They're shocked when it actually gets implemented. Let's go back to what I was saying with the algorithm. We should have to... Republicans need to be... And like, sure, Democrat, whatever. But when you have a radical point of view in your policy, you should have... Like, your algorithm should understand what you're thinking and what you're showing, and there should be a counterbalance to it that actually shows the effect. That it is we'll repeatedly show it to you until you sit here and understand and show competency around what the outcomes what you believe in, what the outcomes will be stems from those beliefs. Like if I believe in X, this will be the outcome. This is the most likely. 9 out of 10 times is what happens. 6 out of 10 times is what happens. This is what has been shown in other situations that are very similar to what we're talking about right now. These are the things that our algorithm should be doing. Instead of forcing us right, it should force us left or force us to argue. It should be forcing us to critically think. Our algorithm should be making us better humans, not making us big old meat sacks of nothing but credit, debit, consumption, and spending.
Yep. I'm going to repost it again. So, I mean, this is not the first, nor will it be the last time I address this, and I will continue addressing it over and over again. And when people say, Hassan, why do you keep repeating yourself, or why do you keep fucking debating people over and over again on stuff like this? It's because I still believe that every single time I have this kind of conversation, there are new people that listen and new people that go, you know what, this guy is making sense. Especially when attitudes change, right? Or when people start seeing the impact of things that they thought were going to be good for the country, and then they realize maybe it's not good for the country at all. Okay? Sometimes it also helps movement veterans to hear the arguments again, too. Yes. Bring the same derailers into this town hall, but ignores the vast majority of clarifying questions for folks that honestly want nuanced comparisons and explanations. Wait, what is that? Where are you getting your...
I don't care about the derailers.
Minnesota reformer. Most Somali people in America and Minnesota are citizens. The percentage of Minnesotans with Somali ancestry who are not citizens dropped from 76% in 2001 to 9% in 2023, and as estimated by American Community Survey. Was it that difficult for you to take 3 whole days asking this question? Not even 3. You asked about this before. You asked about this on 1/7. Where are you getting the demographic stats for America's Somalian population in Minneapolis? That would not be census data, 90%, 60%. Where does this even come from? So the question I have for you is, it has been 5 days since you last asked that question. In 5 days, you could not have actually Googled it one time? That's actually helpful. I didn't know that. Okay, but what should be helpful for you is not necessarily just like the sourcing behind this information, but also, you should, in the future, if you have an issue with the information that I'm presenting, okay, you can just Google it on your own. And if I'm wrong about...
All right. We're going to put that away for a little minute. Put that away.
I have a new troll in my followers, and he is fantastic. Not as a human, clearly. He's the worst. But for engagement, fantastic. He comments on all of my videos, and lately he's been commenting, don't trust her, she's a liar. All she does is use ChatGPT. And then he's like, I used ChatGPT and the same stuff came up. Yeah, Jason. In my videos, when I say something like, per the USDA, per Pew Research Center, per ACLU, here are the facts, here are the statistics, and then you look it up and ChatGPT says the same stuff,
it's because they're facts.
we're doomed. Thank you. I have a new troll.
You forgot how to think. You forgot to think before you started trolling.
Yeah.
I like her.
It might be racist.
I think she passes the vibe check too. She doesn't care if you like her or not. I don't think she's really chasing clout, and I think she has very high character. And I think she's morals over money because I haven't seen her advertise shit yet.
No. Okay, so segregation isn't a thing anymore, but why are parts of the city so much more, like, black? Don't say that. Black? Redlining. No, I know that used to be a thing. I'm asking why it's happening now. The impacts of redlining. People could have moved out of those neighborhoods at any point. It's been 100 years. 100 years since the practice formally started. Okay, so back in the 30s, the government worked with banks to draw maps of cities. Blue, green, red. The red areas meant risky. Don't give these people loans. Guess who lived in those areas? Black and brown people. Realtors steered black families away from certain areas. Landlords refused to rent to them. Discrimination at every level of housing. Okay, but then it ended. Yeah, after 40 years with the Fair Housing Act. But the impacts of that
1970s.
On top of the already lasting effects of the really big bad thing we did to black people. What? Oh. And it's kind of hard to just move to another neighborhood when your parents, your grandparents, their parents were all denied the opportunity to build generational wealth. So today, the typical white household in the U.S. has around 9 times the wealth of the typical black family in the U.S. And even though redlining isn't a practice anymore, those redlined areas still have lower home values, underfunded schools, and less access to wealth-building opportunities. So,
Again, who does that help? Who does it help? Who does it help? Not the average American.
This guy... bad. This guy also bad. This guy
I haven't seen this girl
standing
before.
up to this guy, good. This guy, still bad. This guy, nominated by this guy in 2017. This guy reappointed this guy. I don't know why. Jerome keep wages for workers down with Fed policy. Jerome say economy good for workers is unsustainable. Jerome not vice presidential candidate for AOC. Jerome, not hero. Jerome, not school walkout worthy guy. Joke funny, sometime, little bit. Jerome make people unemployed lose their home and become homeless.
I love that she's
Jerome
talking like she's talking to a
policies.
bunch of idiots.
All right, wide receiver.
Top 10 reasons my husband.
Maybe I'm just a fool. Okay, wait, you probably should forget that chick. Okay, wait, she's probably on some basic.
Unethical dungeon master advice.
What do our allies think of this? Do we know how this is being perceived overseas?
It's a really interesting part of it, actually, because our best intelligence alliance is called the Five Eyes. It's us, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. And the Five
If you had
Eyes.
left out Canada, you have gotten such a polite letter from them.
Oh, I know. My mom's Canadian too. I would,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that'd be the end of birthdays for me.
Yes.
But so the UK has particular intelligence expertise in the Caribbean. And they came out and said, you know what? We're part of the Five Eyes. We all share everything. We've been sharing everything since World War II. We are going to stop sharing intelligence with you in the Caribbean, because what you are doing with that intelligence, we believe, is putting our personnel on the hook for maybe being charged with murder or war crimes.
That's
So
wild.
as a country, we can no longer do this with you. And
That's
we
wild.
effectively pulled out of the Five Eyes, the most important intelligence alliance in the world, which we have had since World War II, because we are so obviously breaking the law, they're afraid they'll go to jail for having anything to do with us. That's bad. That's like when your friends say, I can't hang out with you anymore, I'm on probation.
What are our allies?
That's insane, man. It's insane state of affairs for America. It's not all doom and gloom, though, man. Oh, man, sanctions for Iran. Why is Iran exploding? I would love to watch it. I have to go to bed. That's kind of why I pulled out of that last video. It's just getting late. and I need to hit the head. I have a couple things I need to do before I go to sleep. So I'm gonna close it out with a little prayer. Then I hope you guys all have a great night. Dear God, thank you for allowing us to come together today. I pray that I was able to diminish myself and that my words and my actions and my feelings and my vibe were guided by you. Please continue to use me and help me evolve into the man that you need me to be. Thank you for the opportunity to become a father. Thank you for the opportunity of being a husband. Thank you for just allowing me to be bold and be courageous and have the strength to get up each and every day and try to be a little bit better. I pray that this world can find your ways, that we can respect ourselves and respect our neighbors so that we can build better communities for the next generation. I continue to ask that you just guide our way and that we just turn towards you in times of darkness, and that things that are growing in the dark and spreading in the dark come to your light, and that your light is able to vanquish them. Thank you for just always blessing the road in front of us as you bless the one behind.